All right, everyone, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. 1 second, though, before I do that. Got to get into actual presentation mode. There we are. Beautiful. Mm-hmm. 1 second, please, guys. Okay, here we go. All right. Hopefully everybody can see my screen and it's looking good. Just so you know, everyone, the structure of today, we'll be, sort of diving into this two-part series of Build What You Imagine. There'll be some short lecture, little best practice sharing, and then, of course, I do want this to be as interactive as possible, so we're going to have a lot of moments for participation in the chat, etc. So without further ado, I will introduce myself. My name is Dr. Melanie Lowe. I am the head of educational innovation for Base44's education team. And we are so excited to be here today with Meet and Code for this incredible partnership and a great webinar continuing this series on Build What You Imagine. So this is me. I already said hello, but again, I'm happy to see you all as well. Please feel free to let me know where you're coming from. Even share a little bit more of the learners that you work with, student populations, etc. And also what you're most interested in hearing about and getting out of this session today. For us, I'll give us a little bit of an agenda. We're going to build upon our first session, which was really an inspiration jumping off point geared toward us seeing the platform in action, understanding why vibe coding itself presents this new way of working and learning and building, and why that matters for our learners and our students, and how it opens up these new possibilities for creation in the classroom and for building and demonstrating learning beyond the walls of the classroom, right? So for us today, thinking a little bit more implementation. We can put on our sort of pedagogy learning designer hats, which I love to do, and thinking through how we take these ideas that our students have, but also our own ideas. Maybe some of you who were in the last webinar have been sitting with your experience thinking about, okay, how does vibe coding really slot into my semester or my term, my course structure, etc. We're then going to get into teaching prompting as a creative act. I know I kind of realize, I think that folks are getting tired of hearing about prompting, which I find fascinating because unless you're working with code, prompting is the gateway to all forms of AI creation, whether you're working with a LLM, whether you are doing agentic AI, vibe coding, etc. Some people say like, oh no, not another webinar on prompting, but it is the core skill of this new way of working, right? And what we're going to talk through is how we frame and create these, guided experiences for our learners to point them toward creativity and problem solving, for them to see that when I craft a prompt, I'm not just trying to generate and use an output, right? In completely different. Instead, I'm creating this prompt as a form of architecture, as a form of thinking and communicating so that I can build something functional, something beautiful, something amazing that reflects my idea and what I want to create. Then we're going to get into a simple framework for running build projects. So I'll kind of give you a structure. I'm going to ask you all to ideate off of it. We'll also be spending some time in the platform just kind of showcasing our own prompts and builds, building out ideas that we have together to hopefully get us to the point where we'll be designing our own learner build activity. Okay, so exciting little agenda for us today. Much fun to be had here. I want to anchor us like I did in our first session, but for new participants, I'm so happy that you are here, and for folks that are coming back, to sort of put us all in that same space and, that common mission of meaningful AI learning. To bring AI tools, AI facilitated creation, and vibe coding into your classrooms means that you are taking a step in the direction of saying that AI does have a meaningful place in our learners' futures, in the ways in which our students are learning and working in the classroom, and we are reframing our engagement with AI in that meaningful way. And this is, I know it's something that everybody's heard me talk about if you were here last time. And, I think I've kind of been obsessed with this idea for this past year and a half as vibe coding has really, become part of our way of working, way of interacting with AI. That before, as helpful as AI technology is, we really were just, generating output and then consuming it. Whether that was we were using AI to help us draft an email, to brainstorm, to maybe come up with meal planning ideas. I don't know how many of you use it for that. I occasionally do. It can be quite helpful. But at the same time, that's this consumptive method of interacting with AI tools, right? So what we have is, we're trying to sort of evolve from that, have it as an anchor, but where our learners aren't just finding answers or generating content or completing tasks. Our focus is moving students to become builders and co-creators with AI tools. The AI tool being a medium through which they're exercising higher order learning, like problem solving, right? Like ideation and creativity. That's where we really want to get to. And I'm hoping today we'll have some time together to sort of structure one small way that we can bring vibe coding to our classroom with this end goal in mind, right? So 3 ways learners can build. So thinking through this, again, where they are at and where your learners might be coming to an AI tool, what their level of literacy or background knowledge is, their level of use prior. But for me, I find these pathways to be the most generative, particularly for our younger learners evolving into, the higher education university level learners. First of all, solving a problem, asking students to look at their family, their own personal lives, or their community, and to then plan out where's an area where you can solve a concrete problem. Pathway 2, this is where creativity comes in, but also subject matter expertise. Sometimes we don't frame our students as subject matter experts, but they are. Particularly if it's a topic that they love but maybe don't get to explore as much in traditional academic pathways, and allowing them to build around something they're passionate about, whether that's history or learning a new language or Dungeons and Dragons or chess or lab experiments, like whatever the case may be. I love pathway 2, I think you could probably tell, but giving them space to say, if you truly love something and are fascinated by it. For instance, this morning I was jogging around New York City and I saw so many small children just decked out in New York Knicks jerseys, so excited to celebrate their team and go to the parade. And how many of them could have told me, 60,000 things I never would have known about basketball, right? Or the New York Knicks, if they'd just been given that opportunity to say, you love this thing, it's amazing to you, how about you demonstrate your expertise in it, right? And then finally, creating impact. And I think for learners, especially in that sort of like high school to university pathway, this is really important because we're acknowledging them as adults, young adults transitioning into adulthood, and saying that their perspective and voice matter, and that we want to give them a platform and an avenue for executing on that, for building something that can make something better, right? So I'll pause here because I would love for all of you in the chat to share. Again, I'll also kind of go through the chat too, but let me know which of these would be most relevant for your learners, for your students. Which pathway is kind of speaking to you as a gateway for them to begin building with AI. So I'm now going to switch my tab over here so I can hopefully take a look at the chat and see what folks have been sharing. See some other new friends here, which is great. So again, take a couple minutes. I will pause and allow for silence so that you can think and share which of these pathways feels most relevant for your learners. Again, feel free to share. If you want to interact in the chat, that would be amazing. Just again, hopefully giving us some concrete ways that we can introduce this vibe coding technology and way of working to our students. I'll give us one more minute or so as we think. All right. Well, at least from my perspective, I kind of shared some of my thoughts, like I said, on, I think each pathway, again, presents this sort of entry point for students. And by putting ourselves as educators kind of in that space of what's relevant for them, etc., it allows us to, I think, hopefully also introduce technology in such a way that it's, you know, it's not, you know, just like, oh, adopt this platform for this thing, right? My biggest thing always is that it's truly not about the software. It's about the people who are turning to it and what they need from it. And I think it's also important for us to posit student use of tools in such a way. Okay, well then, moving right along, shall we? Now we're getting to the part of how do we structure this, right? Like, what does this look like in my classroom? How do I bring this to my students? So we start with a very simple build framework that then gets into our prompting pedagogy, you could say. But mainly, again, always thinking through identifying a problem. Why I find this to be such an important starting point is because teaching entrepreneurial thinking can be a very valuable way of framing the use of technology and also give students some really concrete actionable pathways for idea generation, problem generation, thinking through in that way. And then, you know, ideating out what's a solution to this potential problem. If it's an app or a website, etc., why would I do that? And then we build it. And then we share and reflect. So this process can be in a single lesson, it can be in a workshop or a multi-week project because it has focus that then allows it to scale and scope out, right? And so that's sort of the framing of this to, you know, make sure that we're giving folks, our students, that structure of experience to then bring the tool to them and then let them run with it, right? So this is a slide that I shared last time of how we approach teaching prompting at Base44. And for me, at least, it's very important because Base44 has the capacity to build full stack web applications. You're not building just a public-facing interface with no backend. You aren't just coding out. It's everything combined, right? So it's building this fully functional web application, which means that our students do need a very structured pathway for crafting a prompt that's tending to a lot of different layers of design thinking, of project management, of UX, UI, etc. And so, again, this is how we structure the prompting experience for students, being specific. What are you building and for whom? Thinking through who is this for? Addressing a problem. So, back to that problem solving point I was talking about earlier. Why does the app need to exist? Structuring the workflow, the single most important thing of particularly when you are building an application, but anything for the web, is this idea that if a user is going to have this be functional and if it's going to meet the need of a user, what are all of the various touch points and ways in which the user interacts with this? How does a user move through it? What does success look like for the user? Where do we see potential pain points in their journey? And then how can we fix that, right? And then, of course, an end goal, right? What's the result or action you want? This used to, we used to call this a call to action. I come from the website design and building world, so of course it's like you always have to tell people to do something. If they're interacting with a website or an app, etc., they need to have it be clear of what the end point is. What's the goal of this, right? So again, a way in which we teach prompting to be very, very approachable, but at the same time to lead to very functional outputs. Like that's the whole point. You want your students to come to Base44 to put in their idea and have it build something amazing. That's the entire purpose of it. And so that's kind of what we're looking at there. So to sort of demonstrate this, we're going to do a little activity. I know you're probably thinking, she likes to do a lot of interactive things. I do. I'm very much an educator by trade. The webinar, very useful for learning, but I also thrive off of interactive learning. And so that's what we're going to do now. So you sort of saw the base framework. I can toggle back and forth, but I'm going to give us about three-ish minutes. And we're going to do an activity that I actually do in my classrooms with students on bad to good to great prompts using the base framework as our kind of thinking matrix, right? So here's a prompt we have. And I would like you to take a minute to think what's missing here and how could it be improved. Build an app for students that helps them keep track of homework, assignments, and upcoming tests. It should be easy to use and help students stay organized throughout the school year. Okay, so at face value, seems pretty good. Like I said, am now going to let us think for a couple minutes. And I would like you to share in the chat what you think is missing from this prompt and how you would instruct one of your students to improve it. So you get to feedback it, okay? All right, let's go ahead and take a few minutes, you guys. I'm excited to see your thoughts. Also, I apologize. I realized my friends were interacting in the chat. I just didn't have my window pulled up so I could see all of your thoughts. I am so sorry. I am, like I said, in the New York office, so I'm operating just on my laptop. If any of you work with multiple monitors, maybe you know this feeling where you just feel lost without all of your different screens. So sorry. It's, one of those things where you think you could learn new things, but then you're taken out of your environment. But anywho, thank you for sharing. And I'm excited to see what you're going to share. Again, so we'll continue to let you ideate and think through and how you would feedback this prompt for a student. Our first brave friend has ventured a guess here, which I love. It only sets a goal. I think it would be better with more details. Yeah, it's gone beyond the sort of when people show you a bad prompt and it's just like build a fitness app, right? And it's like, well, that's not very instructive because we all know that if you put that into something, it's going to build nonsense, right? Like, it's not going to be that functional. But this one, while it has kind of this goal and it's saying like, okay, like we want to keep track of homework, right, and various other deadlines, etc. So there's that. It's just a little bit still generic, right? I see another comment here from Volker about visual style being missing. So if you put this in, it would be very vibe codey, right? It'd be a lot of we'll actually put the bad one in and just so you guys can kind of see how Base44 would tackle this. Because it wants to build. It loves it, but it's just one of those things. So, it says it should be easy to use. Technically, every web application should be easy to use, right? That's just what it should do. So maybe a little bit more thought there. What do we have here from Nikki? Yeah, background, needs. Like, who is this for? Students. Like, there's students, well, everyone is, but that can run the gamut from early childhood education to continuing adult learners. So we're looking at a vast span here, right? So which learners? Like, why do they need help? Who is this for? Features. And what should the final output look like? Amazing. Yes. So, and maybe some of you are also working in the background on like, okay, well, how could we improve this, right? So I'm actually going to switch us over here if anybody has anything else they want to share. But again, what are we missing? Many of you nailed this already. Specifics. Who is this for, right? Like, there's lots of different ages of students, levels of students. Is it for, primary, secondary, high school, blah, 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 blah. Why is organization difficult? I actually like this because it's asking whoever designed this prompt to go more in depth on what the problem is here, right? Which sometimes, might be even more generative than tending to some of those like UX, UI type of things, but instead pausing that student or that learner and saying, this is the problem you've identified, but why? like, let's go a little deeper, right? And then that also gets them to start to think about, oh, well, I might have lots of different users for this, right? Like maybe these are students, like what about the students that feel like they don't struggle with organization? Like if they were to use this, what value does it provide for them, right? Or why is it organization specifically? Are we also looking at maybe we need some sort of coaching or better like study techniques, etc.? What should the workflow look like? You guys all pointed this out, like that need for the detail, and the outcome we're trying to achieve. Like what's the, again, if a student is using this app on their, their phone or their tablet, or a school adopts it, whatever, what should happen as a result of this app existing, right? So amazing. I love it. I'm going to take a quick hop back to my chat. Yes, so good. Really good perspectives, you guys. So I would like us to maybe do a live translation exercise, because I want to take us into Base44 itself. And this way, my folks that were here last time, you can maybe ask a little bit more in-depth questions about the program. My folks that are brand new and new friends here, you can maybe share just what you would like to see or what you would like to learn about Base44. So I would just, again, off the top of your head, I'm going to give us like 2 minutes, put in the chat an idea that you want to see built, like something that you think would be relevant for your students, for your learners, that you would like to see come to life in Base44. And then we can switch over to the platform and we will build it out. And we'll kind of see, see how it works. My folks from last time can ask their more in-depth questions, but go ahead and folks drop in the chat 1 or 2 ideas, and these can be totally off the top of your head, of what you would like to see Base44 build, or what you would like your learners to build in Base44. Okay, go for it. I'll let you think for a minute, and then we will do a live build. All right, I love it. From Yetsa, she's our first one. Keep putting your ideas in, though, because if we have time, we can build several. Or if you are building in the background and want to share, at some point I will ask you to. But a communicator tool for students and maybe teachers too within one school. Love it. So something that allows everybody to talk with each other. Maybe with private channels where students or teachers can message parents, maybe where teachers can also share relevant announcements for student, like specific classes, etc. Oh, and we have 2 fun ones from Nikki. A math battle game where players answer math questions to defeat enemies. I love it. We're going to do it. And now, probably the moment you've all been waiting for, right? Where it's like, can we please go see Base44 now? Yes, we can. And we're going to build 2. So I'm actually going to start it with the math battle game. And then we're going to also showcase another workflow with our communicator tool for students and educators. Okay, so let me take us out of our presentation, and we're going to head over to Base44. So let me just make sure that we are looking good there. Yes, we are. And for those of you that would like to build along with me or just access it, I'm going to put this here, the link to Base44 itself. So folks that were here before, quick refresher, new friends, welcome to Base44, our vibe coding platform that we're working with today. I am logged into my account, so when you go to sign up, you will just be prompted to enter an email and a password. Base44 operates on a freemium model. More on that in a little bit. But basically, you'll see here I have my workspace, right, as well as, you know, just some different fun things over here. I can see all of my apps down here, so all the different things that I've been building lately. And then the text box is where I enter my prompt. I have the ability here to add attachments. So if I wanted to attach, say, a Figma file and have it build from that, if I wanted to attach screenshots or design assets or images, etc., I could attach those here now, and I just instruct Base44. You can also, if you prefer this way of working, draft your prompt as a product spec. So you can create like a one-pager, and if you're doing the base prompt framework in its most detailed form, it will be about one page. You can attach that and then tell Base44, implement this product spec for my application, math battle bots or something. Nikki, if you have a better name, please feel free to tell me, because I just came up with that out of the void. And at this point, I don't know what's a good idea anymore or not, right? But just some functionality here. And so what I would like us to use today, actually, is this amazing tool called Plan First. So when we click this on, we are able to describe to Base44 what we want to build, and then it's going to do basically the base prompt framework with us as this interactive moment of brainstorming and ideation. Okay, so I just love this. I think it's a great way to get students just using the tool right away. So here we go. We're going to call this, I want to make a math game app for students 14 to 16 years old. I believe, Nikki, that's kind of like your students' age range. Maths Battle Quest, even better. That's what we're going to name it. Called Maths Battle Quest. And also, I do apologize. You all have probably picked up on the fact of that I am very American. And so I know that in the UK, it's known as maths. Here we just call it math. I haven't the foggiest idea why either, but that's what it is. So we'll just tell it this. For this age range, it's called this. Players answer math questions to defeat enemies. We'll just say that. That's what we have. And now, working with plan mode, it's going to help us craft our prompt. So here we go. Couple of points about Base44 as we see it work. Base44 operates on a credit system. So like all AI, most people know this terminology as tokens. We call them credits. So your first prompt you send, Base44 judges the complexity of the prompt and then begins to deduct credits based on that, like the level of complexity. Most of the time, a prompt, it's going to charge within the range of 0.5 to 3 credits. So if you did like that one-pager product spec, that would probably charge like the 3 credits. I've never seen it charge more than 3 for a prompt, to be perfectly honest. And I create massive, massive long prompts. But you never know how the AI will assess it on a given day. And now you see planning mode in action. Okay, so which topics do we want this to cover? Oh, 11 plus. We can change that in our plan mode, Nikki. Thank you. So any particular subjects or areas of math that we should be focused on, or we can just click all that it's given us. How about we do that? We'll say algebra, geometry. We'll say all of it. And if we wanted something else, we could add it in here, right? So perfect. Here we go. Next. How should the battle mechanic work? Answer correctly. Yeah, and so isn't this interesting that Base44, we haven't even told it too much about like, we want this to be gamified, I want it to be this sort of experience. It just kind of took that and it said, cool, we're building a game, I love it, like, here's what we're going to do, right? So, and a couple of different models. Maybe too, we want to have different types of games and different types of gamified experiences, which you could build right now. But maybe we can just focus on like one type of game and then we could build onto it. It's totally up to you, but you kind of see how we can now work with it. I'm going to say so, and also I just love that it's thinking kind of like how would you, plan a video game-esque type thing for math, race against time. Oh, that's kind of fun. Turn-based. Player and enemy take turns. Correct answers power up your attacks. These are all cool. I love them all. But how about we do, we'll do an HP system. Seems kind of fun. Unless folks in my chat have disagreed. Okay. So now, is this a solo experience or does it involve other students? We'll say, this is great. We'll do classroom. So that a teacher can set up games and then monitor student progress. So this will create a couple different workflows. That'll be great for us to see. All right, so it's gone ahead and we've given it something to think about. It says great choices. Classroom mode adds real depth. I was talking about credits and then I got excited because plan mode started asking me to plan with it. When you work in plan mode, you are not being charged credits. So it's a great way to really optimize use of the free plan, especially for students where, you can just work with this to sort of ideate out and then build, and then Base44 will build based upon what you've sort of worked with. So again, a great way to maximize the free plan. How should we structure this for students? So what kind of levels do we want? Ooh, boss battles, linear levels. We'll do quest. Quest sounds fun, although boss battles also sound delightful. And this is, can you imagine how much fun students would have thinking about the design of this? Like, do the math problems, are they embodied as like crazy monsters, right? Or some sort of like fantastical creatures in this quest world? There's so much to think about. And we're going to build it together, which is so exciting. What can the teacher do? Well, they should be able to do everything, right? So create and manage question banks, because the teacher would be giving, coming up with the material that the students are using the math battle app to master a little bit better. Assign specific ones and then view a dashboard. And then if we wanted to add something else, we could do that here. So always keep that in mind that you can continue to tell it stuff. So that looks good. Next. You'll also see this space down here. I think it's a smart way for students as maybe they're thinking on their toes, working with the planner. They can also be taking notes of like things that they're thinking of, features, design ideas, etc. Really fun things like that. And man, oh man, this plan mode is so detailed. I do this every day and I'm still amazed by it. So persistent game progression, fresh start, hybrid. How about we do persistent? Because then you also have students being able to kind of track where they're, improving or where they're gaining knowledge, right, and mastery, and maybe where they also have areas like if they there's one level or you can't beat the geometry proof boss, right? That would have been me. I was very bad at geometry. That's kind of a sign that like, oh yeah, I do need to work on this, right? Okay, great choices. Here we go. Thinking. They've got everything they need. And they're ready to go. And again, I'll be interested to see, I have not given it a lot of design guidance, right? Which is fine. If you want to, you can. If not, then, that's all good. So it's basically now writing our first prompt, generating it based upon the brainstorming that we just did together. Amazing. And a nice little disclaimer, right? That once you click start building, credits will be consumed, right? And so this looks pretty good. And then I'm actually going to add in here, we need to adjust the age range. This is for learners 11 years and up. There we go. So now it has that information, and it's going to say, oh, okay, great, not a problem. Maybe it'll have a few more questions for me in terms of like, do we need to change anything else? But from here, thinking, we'll give it a second to think, and I'll check the chat really quick to see if I have any questions. No, okay. All right, we are going to start building. You see it edited my little plan right there, and here it goes. And now, folks, we are in base 44, and base 44 is building. And you can see over here in the left-hand panel, again, for folks that were here last time, this is familiar, but for my new friends, I want to just give us a little lay of the land. We have our, the AI is thinking, working, and now writing. So what it's doing is this is creating the back end, the data, right? So, you know, everything that makes this a fully functional application, it's writing all of that. So this is like kind of the coding component. And then it will begin to build. And that's what we're going to see as well in the public. And it says, hey, I'm editing your code right now. Great. Thanks, Base44. Love it. So there it goes. I'm going to now, it's going to build, right? And we can kind of watch it. But I want to open this up to everybody that might have questions about the platform. So my folks that are brand new, what do you need to see about Base44? We just kind of went through what the initial workflow looks like. What are questions that you have? My folks that were here with us in part 1, based upon how you've been playing with the tool, what are some more maybe in-depth questions that I can answer for you? So as Base44 works, go ahead and take a minute to just pepper me with questions. Give me everything that you ever wanted to know or didn't think you needed to know about Base44. So we'll let it work in the background, and I'll kind of leave it for you all to ask questions about the platform as we go. I'll also highlight a few things that I get asked about quite often in terms of, again, just some functionality. So here you'll see we have 3 modes where you're building. So this is where you iterate with Base44. Once it creates its initial build, we're then going to be able to make changes, edits, etc. All of that happens in build mode. You also see we have plan mode here, right? So in this area, plan mode is using credits because now we're kind of building. But again, kind of working with Base44 to create plans. So this is a great way if you're kind of like adding on to an existing Base44 app, say like students built a 1-page website and now they want to turn it into a multi-page website. It might be a really good idea to use plan mode to walk through what the architecture should look like, right? And how they should go about adding pages on before they just straight up start prompting it to say like, add an about page and add a contact page and do this form, etc. Right? So very nice. And then discuss mode. I love discuss mode. It's basically where you hit pause and you can ask Base44 questions about everything that it's doing. And also ask it for advice. I do this a lot where I'll build something and then I think, ooh, I want to add a shiny new feature, right? And then we need to say, wait a second, and I'll go into discuss mode and I will say, this is what I'm thinking about adding. Does it make sense from an accessibility perspective? Or based upon what we've already created, does this optimize or does it hurt our users' workflow? Just certain things like that. And so it's a way, again, for you to ideate and chat without making changes. So if then you want to make changes, you go in and you go back to build mode and you implement what it suggested to you. Okay, so that is our wonderful little builder area here. You also see, you know, you can attach all your good things, add a page from Figma, you know, upload, connect to your Google Drive, all good stuff there. AI model, a question I very often get. So if you are working in the free plan of Base44, Base44 takes your prompt, it assesses it, and then it picks an AI model automatically based upon which one will work best for the build. If you are in a premium plan, you have the ability to pick your AI model. So if you really like working in Opus, right, or GPT 5.5, whatever the case may be, you can pick. So, but again, that's a feature that's only available in the free plan. So just something to keep in mind. I'm going to quickly check the chat before I come back over here. I promise it's going to be built. If any of you, again, have built something and your Base44 has decided to move a little quicker than mine, drop it in the chat. Show us what you made, and I'll show you how to do that. We can't do it right now, but you'll see publish, right? And it says, well, you can't do that because you're building. And I say, okay, sorry. But when you click this, this is where you're now able to make your app published and live on the web. And important thing to note is Base44 will generate a free URL for you. It's very nice as far as free URLs go, very unobtrusive, I must say. You can, of course, connect a domain or buy your own domain through Base44 if you want to. You just will need to be on a premium plan, builder or above, for that to be available to you, okay? Let's take a look at what we're doing here. Latest messages. It's working really hard. Seeing, okay, apparently had some, it's got, oh, project structure is solid. And now it's going to add in sample data to make the app immediately usable. That's another thing to note, is that Base44, when it builds, wants to make it functional. So it's going to put in placeholder data, regardless of what you make. This is a really important part of teaching iteration. The act of continuously, prompting and changing and editing and building with AI, because students are going to see that Base44 made something and they're going to get so excited, right? Because it's going to look awesome, just like ours is when we get to see it here shortly. I can tell it's nearly there. But then the next part of this is saying, okay, but everything Base44 populated in here isn't the real data. So now it's up to you to go in and add your images, your math problems, right? Your goals for your learners, etc. Your copy. If you're building a business, your product files. You get the idea, right? But that's what then makes this, a really rich experience, because beyond this first, one-shot prompt, we now have to get into the work of working with the AI, seeing what it built, adjusting, editing, etc. And now we have Math Battle Quest. Doesn't it look so good? So from my teacher view, I have my ability to create a class to get started. So it has some nice instructions in here. Preview, as you can see, but fully functional. So if I start clicking on stuff, we're going to see it, add my class, give it a name and a description, create. We also have here my question banks. So Base44 didn't generate this. I could probably tell it like, hey, generate a question bank for, Algebra 1, or pre-algebra, etc. But very specific for educators so they can create their own. And then we have to create our class before we can start battles, right? So again, a nice little LMS that's fully functional within my very fun BattleBot. And then we have the quest. And so this is the student facing, right? Oh, look at that. How nice. Join a class where you need a join code from your teacher to then enter your quest. I love this. I'm going to keep messing with this because this is very delightful. But that is our first build. Dashboard for everyone. And again, if you have more questions, especially if you were here last time and want to kind of get some more in-depth answers to your questions, here in the dashboard is where we can view the full functionality of our web application. Little overview, you can set app visibility to public or private. You're also able to send invites to users so students can share their work with others. Data, this is the most important because, again, like I told you, Base44 is building a full application. This is where your data lives in tables and JSON files. So this is, you can come in, take a look at all of it. There it lives. Amazing. Looks good. We also have things like analytics, marketing. A couple of important things for my educators is security. So Base44 has a built-in security scanner where if you click check security, it's going to scan the whole app and then identify issues and tell you what you need to do to fix it. Basically, and then you just click Base44's buttons and it fixes the security issues, which is incredible. Code. For those of you who want, or your students want to be able to access their code, this very happens with my computer science students. You can if you are in a builder plan or above, okay? So that's just something that is, behind the subscription service. So if you're in the free plan, you would not see this, but if you're in a builder plan or above, you are able to access your code. We have two-way GitHub, right? So you can, export it over there, play with it, bring it back over here, etc. And I will talk about the builder plan and the student and educator discounts that we have available for users here shortly. But I'm going to quickly check chat. And, oh, Nikki, thank you. It did turn out kind of fun. I appreciate you saying that you like it. Well, now you have to go and keep building it, right? And, oh, you did. So now we're going to do a fun one here. And we're going to take a look. We're going to compare Nikki's to mine. Okay, so you all saw mine. It's kind of fun, right? It did a good job. I'm very pleased with kind of the look of it. I like this. I like this student facing. I like all of the kind of steps and how it's kind of scaffolded the setup for an educator. I think it did that in a very smart way. So Plan Mode did a really good job there. But now I'm going to grab Nikki's link and we're going to open it up. And remember, I said, if you want to share, if you've been building alongside me, come over here to publish. And then you can come here and this is how you publish app. You'll also see that before you publish, it's going to tell you, hey, I've done my security scan and there's some issues here. You need to fix those before you publish this, right? And you've probably heard me say this a few times, but Base44, like I said, in these initial builds is building a web application, okay? So that's this. You also have the ability to prepare your app to be published on the Google Play Store and the App Store, right? And Base44 basically offers an onboarding process where it will check your app. It'll help you build all the store files you have to submit to Apple and Google, to Android, for Android, and then you submit, right? Quite a process, but it is very doable. I tell this story all the time. I had two students at the University of Oregon. They were a finance major in engineering, had never built software in their entire life, but they came to one of our webinars. They had a fun idea, also for a similar kind of like battle game, but with movies. They built it. 60 days post-webinar, their app is on the App Store. It's called Outtakes. You can go and look at it. It's pretty cool. But again, it is possible. So that's a fun thing. Let's look at Nikki's build. Oh, perfect. Let's share this tab. And now you guys are going to kind of see what it looks like in terms of the interface once you publish an app. So it's going to ask me to sign in. I'm just going to do this real quick with Google. And I see that we are coming up on about 10-ish minutes left. So I will sort of, ooh, isn't this fun? I love it. Look at this. So we come in, got some fun little interaction, right? Nice little movement, maths battle. There's Nikki. And then I can come here and I can say battle. Oh dear. This is probably going to just completely destroy any credibility I have as you all watch me try to do math in my head. Oh, this is great. Look at this. How fun. Ooh, am I slime? Or this is fun too. Look at all these fun things. 19 minus 4. Ooh, and how fun would it be too if it had like a little timer? And I defeated slime. I did it. Yay. And look at this. I'm already having fun. I'm learning. I'm remembering that I can do math in my head, addition anyway, and subtraction. And then I can keep going if I want to. Wow, this is just great. I love it. Oh my goodness. Nikki, what are you super pleased with? And what are you excited about developing further? Oh, look, and now you get to battle the mummy. Haha, I love it. Oh, Samuel, thank you. I appreciate you. You take care. And again, guys, we're going to be wrapping up here. I really did want to have some time for us just to see the platform and also do this comparison contrast. Samuel, you're going to be getting some follow-up resources. Just keep that in mind. So, you know, the slide deck from this, as well as educator resources, etc. So just keep that in mind, okay? And Nikki, if you want to share like what you're super happy with about the build, what you would kind of continue to develop, I would love that. And other folks, questions, things that you know are thinking about with vibe coding and what you're working through with your own students, etc. Just take a minute if you want to share as I continue to play Math Battle Quest. Oh, this is just delightful. How fun would it be, too, if you had like a little timer like they do with trivia at restaurants, right, where you have to answer within a certain time frame? Maybe a little too much pressure for like intro learners, right? But here we go. Okay, I'm slowly defeating the mummy. Great. Haha. Oh, how fun, too, that the sort of like health bar for my antagonist goes down. I love this. Love, love, love. Excellent. And oh, this is great, Nikki. Excited to show your students. Well, isn't that the whole point, right? The level of questions, make it multiplayer, which hopefully it seems pretty clear how you would start to do that, right? That you would just come here to Base44, and now we're in iteration mode. And Base44 really does want to help you at each stage, right? So it's going to say like, hey, we can add this in. That might be cool. Or, you know, maybe we should sync class rosters. So as you just provide it with more, it will continuously be there to support you, right? So I know that, you know, we've kind of been showcasing and working together, and our live build. This was so fun in terms of how we've kind of built this out. And so I'm going to share this tab just very quickly because I know we don't necessarily have time to do this. Oh, Nikki, great question. Would it take the same amount of credits for add-on or use less? So that's really good. Let's go back to, well, it's going to do the same process that it did when you sent your first prompt, right? So when you sent your first prompt, it judged, okay, like it's this complex, I'm going to charge 2.75 credits, right? It's going to do that same thing every time you prompt it. Okay, so it'll judge and then charge a certain amount of credits. And I will note that when you are in the free plan, you are limited to 5 credits per day. So just note that. And that probably sounds to everyone like, ooh, I'm going to burn through my credits very quickly. Not to fear, though. We'll talk about this in a second. But for you all, today, I'm making sure that you have a code for additional credits. This will allow you to add 50 credits to your Base44 account so that you are able to build more extensively in the free version. So let me also drop this in the chat for you all. It is case sensitive. Just keep that in mind. May 50 ER. Great. And let me actually double check that. I'm going to check it very quickly to make sure that I got the case right because it is case sensitive. Aha, not capitalized. There you go. So don't worry. I will edit that in the slide deck before I send it to y'all. But here is this for you. Beautiful, beautiful. So that's for you to get started, to build, to make something like Math Battle Quest. What a very cool thing, right? So just something for you all to think about and carry with you. And hopefully this can give you some structure. This will be part of your post-workshop enablement materials, in which I will send you basically our sort of pedagogy planning booklet that includes this exercise, in which you kind of scope out, take what you got to do today, and draft a simple syllabus-ready assignment idea. This is something I am perfectly happy to also work with educators on. You're going to be getting my contact information after this. If you want Base44 education to be more involved in your course planning, in curriculum development, etc. That's my role. That's what I do as the Director of Education Innovation. And so I'm happy to collaborate with you more actively to craft assignments that are relevant for your learners. We do also have out of the box, ready to go curriculum material if that would be of interest. So again, if anybody after the webinar, sits with this and says, yes, I really want to bring this to my students, but I would like support, that's what you have me for. So you'll be getting my contact info. You're more than welcome to reach out so we can see how we might, integrate Base44 into your curriculum in a, organized fashion, right? Well, we're right at time. So we can forget about the first one. We've already talked about that. There's so many ideas. There's so many things that we could do. If anybody would like to share, I would love it if you wanted to put in the chat what excites you about this way of building and teaching, how this maybe opens up possibilities for you. I would also love for you to share if you have concerns or you're just sort of thinking through things and wondering what it means, what its implications are, etc. So again, as we sort of conclude today, if you would like to share in the chat, I would love that. And I'd love to just hear from you. So we've got our credits. Finally, to close us out, in your post-workshop resources, you will be receiving this from me in terms of links. So security in Base44, issues of privacy, etc. All of our full documentation on this, as well as our Base44 blog and our Discord community. Two amazing places where you can continue to learn. The Base44 community team is hosting events all the time. So just something for you to continue your learning. We have office hours where you can, get dedicated help, etc. And then that's it for me. Thank you all for your time, for your, generous attention, for being here, for being interested in how you can change the ways in which your students interact with AI technology. I'm very invested in this. I'm very excited about what it can mean for our learners to move from users of AI to people that can build something. And as somebody that watches this happen on a daily basis, it transforms a learner's sense of themselves and what they're capable of when they build something and they see it real and they say, oh, I did that. What else could I do? Right? So good luck. Please reach out to me if you would like to partner further or explore other ways that you can work with Base44 education. I appreciate you all very much, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with it. Thanks, everybody. Volker, good question. Yes, we will have a new code for students for the September and October events. So just know that these are for you to build now. And as we get closer to fall programming, we will create dedicated credit codes for the students in the Meet and Code events. Okay, great question. Oh, any specific tool to analyze exam data? What a great idea. You should build it. That's what it's like the cheating answer, but that's what I always say. So it's one of those things that if for your own teaching as well, if you have a problem or a pain point or just a workflow that you wish worked better, type it into Base44 and see what it does for you. That's a great way to just kind of get started with it. All right, wonderful. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you. I'm so happy I got to spend this time with you. Meet and Code, thank you for hosting us, for partnering with us. We love your mission. And again, I'm here to support, so please connect with me. And thank you again. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.